I have found that when there is a purpose, horses understand what you're doing a whole lot easier. They accept what you're doing a whole lot easier. I'm about to get on Denali. I just videoed a lesson in there about leading and why I lead the way I do and how the leading gets the horse's attention on me. I'm just about to get on him. I let him out here, but you notice I didn't walk straight to the mounting block. We'll tighten the saddle. I'm going to make sure his attention is on me, and then I'm going to get on. Just like I said in that video, every step builds off the previous step. Come on, he's looking at the camera. He generally leads good. He's never a problem leading, but he's young, and I want to make sure his attention is on me. A lot of trouble you get into with your horse, the horse isn't really trying to be bad in a lot of situations. It's just the horse isn't paying attention and isn't ready for what you're doing. I always pause right here, give the horse a chance to think about what I'm doing, and then I'm going to step up. So I just had to change saddles with Denali. The saddle we were using on him was a little smaller. Now he's gotten thicker. I've had to put a wider saddle on him, a different tree that fits him better. Doesn't fit me as good, but it fits him better. And that's something that I work with all the horses that come through. As their body develops, even the older horses, as I'm working, their muscle changes. And very often I have to change saddles as their body changes. Young horses are growing, older horses are putting on muscle. It's very common. I wish I could ride them all in my favorite saddle, but it don't work. I did a video a while back where I was working the boards with him. We were working just one board. I'm planning on showing him. It's actually coming up pretty soon, only a couple weeks away. And we're going to do a little bit more board work, ground pole work. We got a little more room to work with today. I already walked my circles, and I've been walking a good bit. I'm going to go ahead into trot, ask him to move around, get him moving. He is pretty advanced in his steering. I still have him in a snaffle bit. This is actually my heavy snaffle. Dirt's a little deep there. This is where we just added the dirt. It's a little wet too. I still have him in my heavy snaffle, or I have him in the heavy snaffle. I want to get his face a little softer. This bit's good at that. But he actually can be ridden in a leverage bit, neck rein. So I'm still going to use my neck rein, still going to use my legs, but I want to soften his face a little bit better. It's getting really nice. And what I'm wanting with the ground poles, and I don't think my distance is set up right, but what I'm wanting is to develop better rhythm over the poles. I know my distance isn't quite right. I'm okay with that at this phase. I want him to look at the pole. I want him to need to adjust his stride. And I want to develop rhythm. Let's try it again. He needs to look at where he's putting his feet. Go around and come towards you. When I'm doing a lot of the training, we might be out in the pasture and doing this over a couple of trees on the ground. I'm not going to get off and check distance. There we go. That's what I'm looking for right there. I want him to adjust his foot to the stride. I want him to adjust to whatever the boards are. Now, when we get to a show, the boards are going to be set according to a stride. It's not always matches the horse that you're on. And that's a big part of why I want to do this, I've been working his spin. He tried to go in the spin there. That's a big part of why I want to do this, because I want them to look at the boards, look at what's there, and go over the boards no matter what the spacing is. We use the horses here to go out and push the cows in, push them out, which the cows pretty much know the routine. They're willing, but the horse doesn't really know that. It sets everybody up for a situation where the cows are going to win, they come in and eat, the horse is going to win because they think they pushed the cows in. Really good situation for everybody. Back out of the chute. That's a little bit crooked. We're going to work more on that. I don't know what obstacles are going to be there when we get to the show. It's just about always some ground poles. Let's get a little straighter. This will be his first time ever showing. I've hauled him to one show, but come on, move over. Good boy. Good boy. One step and reward. I've hauled him to one show just to haul him to get him out, but we didn't show. Step back, move the hip. Move the hip, move the hip. There, good boy. One step I'm going to reward. I'm not going to ask him to side pass this whole pole. Let's go forward. 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 There we go. Good boy. There's a lot going on right there. And I'm asking his mind, his 3-year-old mind, to really cue in and do a lot. So I'm going to give him a chance to think about what I'm doing. I'm going to give him a chance to respond to what I'm doing. And right then when I asked him to walk forward, he was a little bit confused. So I just picked up my rein. I didn't slap him hard. I didn't punish him. I just said, hey, this is what I'm asking for. Reinforce what I'm asking for. And then reward him. Walk forward. Just trying to go over the board. We've worked so much on poles that when I asked him to walk forward, he tried to turn and go over the pole. Can't ask for more try than that. That is really nice. I know in most show situations, and I think all show situations, they're really particular about the spacing of the boards. And it makes sense, because if you're not consistent with your spacing, you're more setting up for one particular size horse, type horse, and not working with a standard. So by the spacing being standard, that's the standard that all the horses are going to work towards when they're showing. Now I'm asking to back up. I got left leg on him. There we go, to get a little closer. I want to pick up the lariat. Let's go back one more step. There we go. Like over there, I was asking him to side pass over the board. It had a purpose. Over here, I side passed him over to pick up this lariat. It has a purpose. I have found that when there is a purpose, horses understand what you're doing a whole lot easier. They accept what you're doing a whole lot easier. And they're happy about it. Happier than just standing out there and just side passing back and forth for what seems like meaningless to them. So if I'm showing, I'll probably have the rope here on the saddle horn. Sometimes part of the obstacle calls for you to pick it up. I normally leave it there and come pick it up, just so it's not in the way when I'm not using a lariat. And I work this a lot. He understands what the rope is, but what I have to keep instilling in him is when he gets his mind on something like the boards, we're going to transition in our pattern to a different obstacle. We're going to go from boards to the lariat. We might go from the lariat to dragging a log. All those pieces are going to come together in a pattern. So by not constantly drilling just on the board, not constantly drilling just on the rope, because he understands it all now. He knows it all. Now I have to somewhat put it together in a pattern without writing a pattern. So I'm going to try a little bit of the rope. He's good. I can put it up, move on. I'm going to go over there and drag the log. If it's good, I'll put it up, move on. I'm going to reinforce, walk forward. I'm going to keep doing what he needs work on, but I'm not going to forget about doing the things that he's good at. I see people all the time, and I've been guilty of this myself. I know a horse is weak in one area, and I just drill and drill and drill on that one area, and eventually get it okay. If the horse is not good at it to begin with, a lot of times it doesn't end up great still, because the horse isn't trying to go over the boards, because the horse isn't naturally good at it. And then you forget to keep practicing the things that they are good at, like the lariat and dragging the log. And when I go back to that, then I've lost that. So you have to mix it all up. Now I'm asking him to walk forward. There we go. I've spent a lot of time standing on the board, side passing the boards. I'm gonna come right there. I might be a little close to you. And in doing all of that, he has learned that that's where he wants to be. I should have told you before we started I was going to do this. Nah, you're okay. So this is how I have my log set up. It stays here all the time. My log drag stays here all the time. That way I can come work it anytime I want to with any horse. Build my loops. And by having it set up this way, I can work it as that horse needs. And the other part of that is, a lot of people I know have a permanent course set up at their house. And that's a good idea. However, we're gonna have to turn to the left. However, the horse learns the course. And sometimes when you're transferring to even the same obstacles, but a different course, this isn't really, saddle really isn't meant for this, but we're gonna make one loop. A lot of times you transfer the same obstacles to a different course and the horse has trouble with it. Let's go on this side. We're not going to the mounting block. Over here. There we go. Stop mid-sentence. So a lot of times if you transfer the same obstacles to a different course, the horse has trouble because of the pattern being different. He'll scoot a little bit when the rope put a little pressure on his hip. That's why you have to keep practicing this. Feed him out a little bit of slack with my reins. We're just going to drag it in one loop. We're going to go put it back. I can work the obstacles in whatever course I want to, as many times as I want to, whatever arrangement I want to, whatever order I want to benefit. Not yet. I'm trying to stop there. Walk a little further. A little further. Whoa. And by doing it that way, I can work on the horse's weaknesses, but also at the same time reinforce what the horse is good at. So I'm gonna try to get a video of him showing. That's actually coming up in just a couple of weeks, and I will post it so you can see. And he's trying to walk over the board. Let's back up. Before I close, I'm going to talk about that. When the judge is scoring you in trail, and depending on which association you're showing with, determines kind of the judging system, whether it's pluses and minuses or numbers 1 through 10. But either way, it doesn't matter. To score higher The judge wants to see the horse look at an obstacle, understand the obstacle, and try to help you perform the obstacle. That's when you get really high scores. Really low scores is when the horse looks at the obstacle and says, no, I'm not doing that obstacle. That's the very bottom. Most horses, looking at that pole, he's trying to go stand over it. Most horses fall somewhere in between, somewhere in the middle. Denali, when he has more experience, is going to be up towards the top. Because you see, he sees that board. He knows what we have been practicing with that board, and he's trying to get there. He knows he gets the release, the reward, by standing over the board, and that's where he's trying to go. Like right then when I stopped and he walked forward, he wasn't really trying to be bad. He was trying to do that obstacle as we have been practicing it. So we're going to stop right there. It's going to be a pretty easy day for him today, but that's where he's at right now. This is a really nice horse. This is, he's going to do a lot of big things, and he's still young. So this is Denali. I'll put a link up here to his playlist on YouTube. Until next time, thank you for watching.